forgot to put on my microphone. Hold on, because y'all was not going to be able to hear me. All right. Hey, y'all. It's Niecy Dixon. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, y'all, welcome back. It's 5:30, so I have my glass of wine. I hope that y'all were here earlier whenever I reviewed Real Housewives of Atlanta. We had a little kiki over lunch. It was a lunchtime live. It's been a long time since I've done a lunchtime live. So shout out to y'all if y'all were there for that. And then y'all came back for the back-to-back for us to talk about not only Love and Marriage Huntsville, but to talk about Love and Marriage DC. So, in my opinion, I think this show has potential. But I mean, it's kind of early to figure it out. You can definitely hear the accents. I think like DMV accents are the funniest accents ever. Okay, like I used to just think that the craziest or most interesting accents were New Orleans, Louisiana accents. But then I heard somebody from the DMV area speak, and I was like, oh my God. And that's a trip to me because sometimes people will say that I have an accent, but the Texas accent is just so slight that compared to some place like Louisiana, compared to like a Mississippi over there on Scotty by Nation channel, compared to DMV, like the accents are different. And Niecy D says, not as funny as Baltimore. You ain't lying. Oh, I can't even say you like that. I cannot even say you like that. You. Oh my gosh. The first time I ever heard somebody from Baltimore say you like that, I was like, what happened? What happened? And then for Love and Marriage Huntsville, anytime Kimmi gets upset, you hear her accent come out. I'm like, oh, okay. And then shout out to J Dub, one of my YouTube faves. J Dub is from the DMV, okay? I didn't realize that till I seen one of your videos and then you came on live. It's hilarious, okay? You definitely have a tried and true DMV accent. It's funny. Shout out to y'all though, okay? So, y'all, I think that we should review Love and Marriage DC first. Hey, Sam. Monique, Chris, really? But yeah, I think we should review Love and Marriage DC first. And then after that, we'll review Huntsville. But y'all, after we finish this whole review, if you wasn't a part of the Lunchtime Squad, I need y'all to run the block back real quick and go check out Real Housewives of Atlanta. Okay, so let me go ahead. Oh, Monique, that's a good idea. Monique says I take a shot every time one of them says Murray. Yeah, we've been married for 26 years. We've been married for 26 years. Okay. Joe says, I just came to see who Niecy is going to spray with the chopper. Is it me? Do I really be spraying? I don't think I really be spraying like that. I think I come real. I think I give y'all a little bit of Faye. A little bit of Phaedra, real peaceful, real sweet and polite reads. You know, I don't be doing too much. So, do I be spraying? And then J Dub says, Uri. Oh my gosh, I can't. So, I mean, I'm glad to see y'all on the TV. On the TV, DMV, I'm glad to see y'all because the first person, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, the first person I heard that I can remember with a DMV accent was Snoop from Love and Hip Hop. That was the first time. I had never even been up in that vicinity before seeing Love and Hip Hop. So whenever I heard that, I was like, wow. All right. So Love and Marriage DC, I don't intend to keep y'all too long on DC. And then we're going to get into Huntsville just because it was the first episode. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go couple by couple maybe. And then I'll tell y'all like the biggest two events that happened this episode, okay? So, of course, y'all are familiar with Monique and Chris. Monique from that other show. I guess that's what they're going to say, you know, in reference to Real Housewives of Potomac. They did mention Real Housewives of Potomac like flat out one time. And she was also on the nightcap. We can kiki about that too for a little bit. But she was also on the nightcap and she mentioned the Real Housewives of Potomac. But I guess we're just going to keep hearing her say that other show. So she talked about being on the show. And one of the things, ooh, hold on, y'all. Give me a hot second. Like the video real quick. Hold on. Okay, I am back. So one of the things that Monique talked about is how she actually got casted for the show, right? She says that Carlos hit her up asking her, you know, Love and Marriage DC may be in the works. Or I think actually it was just Love and Marriage was going to get another franchise. And he said that if they got another franchise, then he wanted them to go to DC. Now, at first, Monique turned him down, but she knew that Carlos would give her the opportunity to really represent herself the way she wanted to be represented. I agree, but I don't agree. Okay, let me tell y'all why. And we're going to have to go back to this. And I really don't want to go back to this because this is how, you know, a lot of people in the comments like to argue. Whenever it came down to the Monique and Candace fight, that's whenever a good amount of y'all started coming to my channel. That's whenever I really actually started reviewing. That's whenever I was like getting out of my fear of being too opinionated and I just started giving my opinion. So where I stood with that situation was, ooh, Mark, I gotta get my dog out the way. Okay. Where I stood with that situation was, I feel like Monique was wrong, period. And I'm not talking about down to the physical blows, okay? To me, I feel like you have to go back to the beginning. The main argument for most of the viewers of Real Housewives of Potomac was whether or not, like, who hit first? Was she wrong for the physical blow? But for me, it always started from intent. It always started from playing chess, not checkers, and then checking yourself in a situation that you really didn't want to check into. So what I mean by that was whenever Monique was on the show, she should have had all that energy for Gizelle and Robin. However, she felt like Candace was an easy target. Candace had apologized to her plenty of times throughout the show. Monique was obviously triggered. I won't go into whether or not I think she was right or wrong on the physical part of that. If you want to know that, go check out my old reviews. But either way, she was triggered. Put hands on Candace, okay? But to me, I don't really feel like Monique was as wronged as what she's portraying. I think she is under the impression that Bravo did her wrong. And if you go back to the beginning, which was Monique playing chess and being an active participant and trying to team up with the ops, which was Gizelle and Robin, and icing Candace out. If you go back to that, that was Monique's own doing. If you go back to her getting triggered, that was her own doing. So for me, I'm like, okay, this is probably going to be the first and last time we talk about this because I know that Monique is not going to come on the show and talk about Potomac the entire time. But just as it stands, I'm like, Monique, I don't think that you were as wrong as what you're trying to portray. Did Andy try to hold you more accountable than what he's done with other people? Yes, he was wrong for that. Did the ops, Green Eye Bandits, really try to make you be a cop-out for an angry Black woman on the show? Yes, they did. But if we go back to the beginning, I think, Monique, you hold a lot of responsibility. So for me, I'm just like, girl, we're going to start over here, right? So the storyline that we get from Monique and Chris is going to be their relationship. They're at the decade mark in their relationship. And there are some things that Monique wants for Chris to do that he's not necessarily doing. He thinks because, and it's funny because if y'all were watching my previous reviews, I literally just spoke to y'all about how some men will think that if you just show up and do the bare minimum, then that's good enough because, you know, sometimes their moms who didn't have that good of a husband will think that their half-ass son is good enough for the next girl. And I'm speaking in reference to Martell and Miss Marlene. I'm not talking about Chris. But it's just interesting because y'all, you and I just had that conversation about men. So for Monique to come on the show and say that she wants more from her husband than the bare minimum, which should be, you should be bathing your kids, you should be paying the bills, that's fine. But to me, I hope it just isn't a storyline, you know, because I feel like she kind of wanted the same thing from him when she was on Real Housewives of Potomac. They didn't dig into that a lot because on Bravo, they don't really dig into the husbands as much, or at least for the franchises that I have watched. But yeah, that's their whole situation. So we're going to see what happens as they enter the 10-year mark. But I will say, I'm kind of nervous. And the reason why I'm going to say I'm nervous is because when I watched Chris on Real Housewives of Potomac, I really enjoyed this man. And I too thought that he was good because he did the bare minimum. Well, I'm not going to say I praised him for the bare minimum. I'm going to say all we knew of was that he was doing the bare minimum. We didn't really know it was a huge issue that he needed to do more. So I enjoyed Chris. But based on what we see, I'm afraid that some of these men are going to tap into their Marsau's. Like they showed in a future preview that he told Monique to just like hush, like I'm speaking hush. You see Monique asking him to do more with his therapist, and she feels like he's doing it only because she's asking him to. He's not truly doing the work that he needs to do, which Monique, I completely understand where you're coming from. So I'm worried that since Monique was the drama on Potomac, once we get your husband on the show, I hope that he doesn't do anything to make me dislike him, because if he does something to make me dislike him, that inadvertently is going to make me dislike you because you were tolerating it. And that's how it happens on all these shows, okay? Married at First Sight, Potomac, Atlanta, don't matter. All these shows, anytime the spouse shows their ass, I don't just get mad at the husband or just get mad at the wife. I end up getting upset with both parties, and then I don't even want to see y'all on the screen no more. So I'm nervous, okay? But we're going to see. So outside of that, let's move on to Erana and Jamie. These two are the ones with the deepest accents. I'm here for it, okay? It's just funny. I just love listening to it. These two with the deepest accents, right? They've been together for 26 years, and Erana is a little bit older than the other ladies. You know, I think Monique is 36. You get Winter on the show, was it Winter? Not Winter. Ashley, who's 38. And then Erana, who is 48. She's almost 50, but she looked good, okay? Jamie looked good too. So what we get from them this episode is obviously their anniversary party. But the other thing that we find out is that Jamie has a struggle relationship with his son, Lil Jamie. Now, the whole time they were talking about Lil Jamie, I kept thinking Lil Jamie was nothing but a teenager. Lil Jamie is 25 years old and he is a grown-ass man. But they introduced the issue before we actually knew what it was. So I was nervous. I was like, if a child can completely estrange themselves from their parent, it doesn't always mean that the kid is going down the wrong road. Sometimes it can mean that something happened in parenting, because that's step one. Let's go back to the beginning, right? So I was like, ugh, y'all are talking about y'all son, talking about the strained relationship, which doesn't make me want to question his son. It makes me want to question the parents, because that's where it starts, right? So we see Erana go to a note lot. Y'all tell me if I'm tripping or if the car lots just look different in DC. But that was a note lot. They went to a note lot. You want to know how I knew? I knew, number one, because the car he was looking at was dirty. Number two, the cars was packed in a lot like sardines, and the inventory is hefty, or they can't sell no cars, or they don't have enough cars. But them cars was in there like sardines. Number two. Number three, when I saw the African man hop out of the old Range Rover, I was like, he had a note lot. He's at a note lot. So that was just a scene for him and his mom and Raina to have a conversation. And she cries to him and she says, I agree with you, Harold. Harold said, I think Erana might be the Kimmi of the DC franchise. A little bit, but I almost don't know. So anyway, she's crying to him and she's pleading. And she's saying, you know what? Like, we worry about you. We don't know if you're going to come home. Black men are getting killed every day. We want you to make the right choices. So I'm like, oh, okay. This is a situation of rebellion. But at this point, the man is 25. So I'm just like, there's more to the story that we don't know. But okay, we're going to see. But y'all don't know the one thing that turned me off? The one thing that turned me off was whenever Erana was in her confessional, she was saying, I had to get emotional. I wanted him to see me crying because I wanted him to know that this really affects your mom. And maybe it'll hit different this time because he's actually seeing me cry. And that's the first time I ever done that. That lets me know that this is a repeated cycle. That lets me know that you used your tears to get this grown man to do the right thing. And I just want to know more. I'm not going to judge too soon, but the man is grown. So I think there's probably something that happened in his childhood that makes him want to act out or makes him not want to fool with his daddy. Like, what happened? Did he leave the house for a while? And then he decided to come back and everything was on track. And now that he came back, he done already rebelled and acted ass. I guess we just gonna have to see. Now, the other thing that they keep talking about between Erana and Jamie is that Monique and Chris want a Q&A at their anniversary party because they want to get advice on how to make it to another 10 years because Monique doesn't know if they can actually make it another 10. Now, Ashley and Quick, that's the third couple on this show. I can't quite put my finger on who Ashley and Quick are supposed to be. I think they're almost supposed to be like Tisha and Marsau because Quick is, damn, my charger keeps unplugging. Quick is a DJ. And y'all know what happens when my charger unplugs. It should be ready to die. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. So Quick is a DJ, right? Somebody said, wait, what's the note lot? Okay, for those of y'all who don't understand, yeah. Thank you so much, Grace. Buy there, finance there. A note lot is one of those car lots where anybody gets approved. You got bad credit, you go to the note lot. You miss a payment, the note lot also finances your car. So they'll come back and they grab it. I don't know if that's just like a country saying or a actual saying, but haven't y'all heard of like a tote your note? Like, oh, that's a tote your note. That's what my mom used to say. You drive by there, you go looking for cars or something. She'd be like, no, you don't want to go there. That's a tote your note. That's a tote your note. Go to a established, a real car lot. But anyway, Ashley. I feel like Ashley and Quick are supposed to be Tisha and Marsau. Quick is a DJ. So they're going to talk about infidelity, it looks like. Ashley is very much like, I'm that girl. One of the ladies, Winter, who I'm going to talk to y'all about in a second, she said that she gets a bitchy vibe from Ashley. And low-key, I do too, because Ashley was quick to like joke with Erana about her age, similarly to how the girls did Kimmi in the earlier seasons of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Now, I don't know how I feel. I don't think I like Ashley. She hasn't really done anything just yet, but I just have a feeling that me and her ain't gonna vibe, okay? But I'm going to give her a chance. Now, what she wants from Quick is for him to be home more. She doesn't want to feel like a single married mom. They have 2 kids, so we're just gonna see. The last person that I wanted to talk to y'all about, was Winter. Winter does not have a cast photo because she is basically the destiny of the group. Winter is at the Not for Lazy Moms event with the other women. And while she's there, she is giving a speech on like her journey of motherhood and a relationship that she was previously in. So it seems like Winter has been married 2 times. The first time we're meeting her, she's talking about her ex-husband who was a football player on the same team as Chris. And while she's talking, she's like, you know what? I'm gonna tell all my business. You know, my first spouse had an affair, and then he had a kid, then he had another kid. And I was like, and then she just showed up. You know, you see the one side of her hair with the nice curly, the flowing hair, and then you see the other side that's completely bald, given 2007 Rihanna. The girls was living for that in 2007. Cassie, Rihanna, that's whenever she had the red hair when she first turned into Bad Girl Riri. I used to think that was so cute. And I thank God that I never did it. I wanted to do it so bad, but that shit would have looked so ugly on me. So I thank you, God, for stopping me from doing that. Okay. But what we want to get from her hairstyle is that obviously she's going through something. Y'all already know whenever a woman changes her hair, something is about to change. She's trying to make a statement. So we find out from the anniversary party that she's actually been married again. This time, she's only been married for about a year. The man who she was with obviously lied to her about some big important part of his life. The man was damn near 60 years old and he's living in the basement of his parents' home. So I have no idea, you know, what the backstory is on that. But I guess we're going to find out because it seems like the girls are going to be arguing about it in episodes to come. But other than that, y'all, we also see Big Jamie and Lil Jamie make up. So that's good to see. But I am curious to know what led to the demise of their relationship. But other than that, you know, Monique and Chris, they argue at the end of the episode because Monique is asking Chris to create this list. She wants a list of the things that you need to work on, the man who you want to be. And she wants you to make the list authentically because you want to make it. Don't just make it because the therapist asked you to. So we're going to see them argue this season. We're going to see them go through the struggle. It does feel a little authentic. I'm not going to lie. At first, I was questioning if it was fake, but I think this is a struggle that Monique has had with Chris. But we're going to see. Y'all tell me what y'all thought about Love and Marriage DC. Let me know in the comments right now. Do y'all think that this season is going to hit? Are y'all here for it? I'm going to keep reviewing it. I'm going to roll it into our Love and Marriage Huntsville reviews. And that's going to be the new pregame before we talk about Huntsville since Ready to Love is no longer on. So let me read a couple of y'all's comments. And then y'all already know what time it is, right? Okay. Let's see. J-Dub says, I hate Winter and they are using her. Bloop. Joe, I agree. Winter did look very familiar. She has a familiar face. And then Grace Bay says, Ashley better not mess with Winter. She's the type that will say anything. Facts. Okay. If she went and shaved half of her head, do you think she gives a fuck? She will go off. I think that Winter is the type of girl that can keep it real cute, real classy, but she's also got a little, she listens to Monica. She also got a little, Yup. What else? Dana says she's not feeling the storylines already. They said, I liked it. Harold said it was okay. I don't think it's going to be as strong. I don't think it's going to be as strong as Huntsville. It can't. Like, I don't think anytime they make a spinoff of something, it's never as strong. But I think it'll be good. Hey, Nola. Nola says, I think it's going to be okay. Time will tell. Facts. That's exactly what it is. All right. Well, y'all let me know, okay? That's all I got for Love and Marriage DC. Y'all be sure to like the video, and then we're going to roll into Tisha and Marsau. The mess, okay? The mess. Go ahead and like the video if y'all ready to talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville. right. We have 192 people in the room, so y'all must be ready to talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville. This episode, y'all, was giving. This episode, I was like, oh my gosh, this is messy. Y'all know I was living for the mess. I was living for the mess. And I don't know. Tisha was just really getting on my nerves. She was. And I know some of y'all are going to, dang, did I not take a picture of Love? Oh, here I go. I know some of y'all are going to, let me just say this. I see like different sides of every single person on this show. There's been episodes where I've agreed with Tisha, episodes where I've agreed with Destiny, Mel, so on and so forth. But low key, I think that Mel is full of shit. Hold on. Tisha is full of shit. Hold on. Destiny is full of shit. Okay? Period. That's the way I feel. And before I get on with the review, let me say this, okay? Because some people don't be understanding. I review the shows as they present themselves on my television screen. Okay? And then maybe if something happens immediately after the show, I can speak about it in my review. But if the show airs on Saturday night and I review it on Sunday, like I mostly review it on Sundays, right? I'm not going to have time to watch Stormy's live and then completely change my opinion of the way that it was presented on the show. Okay? Presented on the show. So last week, I didn't understand, right? Last week, I didn't understand why Stormy was going off on Nola. Why Stormy was going off on Destiny. I didn't know where it came from. I was so confused because it was just a bunch of what's good, what's that, just like that, for sure, what's good, I was like, what's going on? I didn't know what was going on, right? But I decided to watch this interview since after I posted my review, everybody just kept commenting and commenting and commenting and commenting. Stormy did this because she was being mocked. Stormy. But if y'all would just wait and stop trying to taint my reviews with what's actively happening on social media, I would have known that on the next episode. Because this episode, Stormy finally explains the reason why she was upset was because Destiny was mocking her. And I didn't know that last episode. It was just a bunch of just like that. I didn't know what was going on. So Harold said, I thought Stormy was going to hop up and start crip walking. Grace, you better than me. I didn't catch the accent mocking. I thought both of them were just at a point of getting angry because, depending on what mood I'm in, or majority of people, you're in a mood like this. You feeling good, right? You're just talking like this, real calm, real polite. And then whenever somebody make you mad, you just like boom, 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 boom. Then you revert back to your regular accent. So I thought that both Destiny and Stormy was reverting back to their regular accents because they both were about to be out that action. Okay. And Prosperity says she didn't catch it either. So I think that's all I have to say for the beginning. I think that's all the announcements that I have to make before we go ahead and get into the session. Oh yeah, did you like the video? If you're new here, did you subscribe? Okay. So y'all, the episode starts out and we see that Destiny and Stormy are about to fight. Like really about to fight. Like people are holding them back. But let me not just say that they were about to fight. Let me tell y'all that Destiny stood up first. Destiny wanted to be about that action. Stormy sat in her seat for majority of the time and let Destiny know, if you want to get down, we can get down. Okay? But I feel like Stormy was not as turned as Destiny. Destiny was mad. You want to know why I feel like Destiny was so ready to fight? I think Destiny was fighting for her resource. And some of y'all, just because y'all don't like Mel, y'all don't like to see her as a resource just because there are other people on this show. Tisha is starting to become her own resource because of the bullshit that happens with her husband, Marsau. But let's be real. Anybody else on this show, Mel is a resource, okay? Destiny has been on this show for the 2 to 3 seasons that she has been because of her proximity to Mel and Martell. Okay, so that's what I mean when I say resource. So I think that's why Destiny was fighting. Okay. CR says Stormy has more to lose. Prosperity, yeah, because Stormy has her spot. Facts. And that's why Mel was saying, y'all don't even have no beef like that. Like, why are y'all fighting? It ain't never been that real. It's never been that real. And Destiny's mad because she got cut off. Period. Okay. The demise of Destiny and Mel's relationship ended way before the hotel. Okay. Mel has slowly started to cut Destiny off. Destiny was confusion. Destiny decided to confide in the op. Okay. Mel probably did call her an op, but let's be real. Everybody who's been watching the show from day one knows that as many times as Mel and Tisha have made up, they have always been ops. It's been mutual. So the fact that Tisha wants to act like she's offended by being called an op, the fact that Tisha wants to act like, they didn't really have no beef until Mel started to discuss her husband is beyond me. Y'all had beef, Tisha, when you brought your ass on that stage and you felt so compelled to speak on Destiny's behalf. Okay? You were an op then. Y'all obviously hadn't got over things. And it doesn't just start there. Mel obviously wasn't over the beef that you and her had in previous seasons. So it's mutual. And that's what I mean whenever I say they both are full of ish. I'm just like, y'all both full of it. I think it just takes one person to completely say, I don't F with you, right? And then you just do that. But y'all want to know why they did this tit for tat for so long? The answer is obvious. The reason why they did the tit for tat for so long is because Mel is a resource. Period. That's why Tisha felt okay getting along with the get along, even when she was mad. But it wasn't until she discovered that somebody felt the same way about Mel that she did, that she felt strong enough to stand 10 toes down in front of Mel and say it to my face. I'm standing right here. So it took for Tisha to get Destiny, and it took Destiny to get Tisha for them to feel like, okay, you know what? We're going to stand on our own. But my question for them is this. When you're no longer arguing with Mel, what's your resource going to be? And I'm not saying that they won't have one. Tisha, your resource is your trifling ass husband that keeps popping up in the blogs, okay? Tisha's resource is Marsau and her mama, okay? Because her mama be coming with the tea. Tisha, you have resources, right? But Destiny, you have resources, but you don't want to give us none. You ain't give us not now resource. So that's my question to y'all. That's where I stand on that argument. So Tisha was holding Destiny back. You have a lot to lose. Just calm down. She's holding her back. Destiny is trying to get past security. Even though y'all already on the other side of the room, I'm just like, I cannot. So we see Stormy sitting outside, sitting down. I want y'all to notice the stark difference, right? Destiny is in the other room trying to get past security. Stormy is sitting there sipping her drink. And Tisha comes out to instigate. And Tisha says, girl, we can't let you drink. Okay. Y'all, if I was Stormy, Tisha would have got cussed out just based off that comment. Okay. Tisha would have got cussed out just based on her saying, we can't let you drink. Because you're trying to be messy. You're trying to say that the reason why everything got turned up was because Stormy was drinking. But let's go all the way back. The beef got started because Destiny stood up. Okay, regardless of if Stormy was asking a question that Mel could have answered, the beef got started because Destiny stood up. And you're right, pretty Miss G. Destiny pushed a chair down. So for Tisha to walk back out, and that's right, instigate and say, we can't let you drink, you got cussed out. But okay, I'm like, you think you smart? You think you slick? Okay, cool. So she says that. And Stormy tells her, what do you mean? Like, no, none of that happened because I had a drink. And I'm glad she shut that down because I felt like that was a storyline or a rumor or an idea that Tisha was trying to push out. And I'm like, you sneaky as hell. So Tiffany, this is one of the times that Tiffany was right, y'all. Tiffany says, well, no, it didn't happen because she was drinking. It was because Destiny was mocking her. And Stormy's like, yeah, she was mocking me the entire time. And I'm just like, wow, all I did was ask a question. And she said, you have an accent just like I have an accent. I know you don't want nobody mocking you in your events. She didn't say events, but Tisha, you know you the main one. Because when it comes to you and your mama in that Alabama school system, it's going to come through every time. Every time it's going to come through. And I know you don't want nobody talking about y'all's accent. So for you to sit there and instigate and try to act like Stormy is the issue, when everybody sat there and saw Destiny mock her, I didn't see it the first time. I seen it this episode. But the fact that you did that and you saw it and you're trying to play crazy is just beyond me. So now, y'all, Tisha and Destiny, or Kimmi and Destiny. Kimmi and Destiny are in the back room, and Kimmy's finally getting her to calm down. Mel walks back, and Mel's just like, y'all ain't even got no beef like that. Just calm down. And that let me know that at that moment, there might have been hope for Mel and Destiny at that moment. And that also lets me know that there's bullshit, there's more bullshit to come. Because in the midst of all the craziness, Mel still didn't want to see them fight. She walked back and said, hey, like, your issue was with me. Why are y'all doing all that? But Mel, I'm not gonna lie. Mel did the same thing as Tisha. Mel walked back there and said, you gotta chill. And Destiny said, I was chill because how she was talking to me. Mel said, but you were aggressive. Kimmi then agrees and said, yes, you were aggressive. Now, the only reason why I ain't gonna go on Mel saying that Destiny was aggressive is because factually, Destiny was aggressive. The fight started because Destiny started it. And Kimmi was in agreement, right? I can't. Stay tuned reviews. I don't know if y'all Bible class want to watch this show, but I'm sure y'all could probably find a way to flip it into scripture, maybe. So you could tell Destiny got upset that Mel walked back there and told her to chill. But you know what? Destiny did all that because I feel like she wanted Mel to check on her. I feel like deep down, Destiny wanted to know that Mel was still, concerned about her. So for Mel to walk back there like she was concerned, I think Destiny was happy until she said, you got to chill. You were aggressive. So yeah, finally the girls get it all together. They sit back down and Tisha and Destiny both start talking about what their real issues were. So let's talk about Tisha and Mel in this conversation. Tisha says she was confused on why Mel called her a bitch because Tisha thought that they were good at the reunion. And that's where Mel says, You knew we wasn't good at the reunion, or obviously we weren't good, because you felt the need to chime in whenever Carlos asked if you thought I was a good friend or not. If you thought that I was a good friend or not. And Tisha says, well, he asked for my opinion. Not so fast, Tisha. That's not the way it happened. Carlos was speaking. Tisha chimed in. And because Tisha chimed in, Carlos was like, no, come on, this is an open forum. Tell us what we were going to say. Carlos did not blatantly ask you, do you think that, nope, Simmons, nope. Simmons says Tisha did not chime in. Carlos asked, no, go back and watch the replay. Carlos said something. Tisha chimed in with a half thought, and then she backed out and said, you know what, it's not even my question, or it's not even my turn, so I'm not going to go. So then Carlos ended up asking her, no, this is the open forum. Say what you're going to say. So then she finally said, I just feel like whenever, here we go. It was because she rolled her eyes. So she finally said, I just feel like, there we go. Whenever Mel is good, she's good. And when she's bad, she don't need you. And J-Dub, you right. J-Dub gonna come through. J-Dub, no. He says Tisha jumped in, then Carlos included her. Facts, okay? If you're doing all this, if you're doing all that, you might as well go ahead and say something. Just because Tisha didn't flat out verbalize it the first chance she got doesn't mean she didn't say anything. Like, y'all are so technical. Y'all want to get into technicalities. So she was asked, nah, if you sitting there rolling your eyes and huffing and puffing, you ain't even got to say nothing to me. You might as well just say it with your words. So and number one, he didn't ask her, do you think that Mel is a good friend? Yes or no. He said, go ahead and say what you want to say. But whatever. Y'all argue in the comments. So anyway, Mel says, that Tisha said she didn't think that she was a good friend. Of course, y'all, the technicalities of whether or not he asked. Next, Mel ends up saying, I thought we were good, but we keep going back from the beginning. Tisha says the reason why we keep going back is because you keep discussing me and my husband. And we only go on Instagram and go live because we have to dispute what y'all are saying about us. And I'm just like, what? This is where I think Mel won, okay? This is the part of the argument that I think Mel won on. Is because Mel said the reason why we keep discussing your husband is because he keeps coming up on the internet, okay? Y'all have to understand, Love and Marriage Huntsville is one of those shows that almost feels like you're watching it in real time because the stuff is actually real. So y'all think that all the rumors and speculations of Marsau cheating, you think that nobody on the show is going to mention it? This ain't Real Housewives of Potomac where they only talk about selective stuff. Do you think that nobody's going to mention it? So I don't think that Mel is wrong for discussing Marsau and Tisha. And I think that Mel does get giddy talking about other people's stuff because let's be real, the first 3 seasons were all about her and Martell. And I think it's fair game. If Mel and Martell's relationship made this show what it was and the fall apart of their relationship made this show what it was, and it was fair game for y'all to discuss their relationship, it should be fair game for her to discuss your relationship as well. So when she said that, I was like, you know what? You ain't never lied. Because if you go back probably 2 episodes ago, I used to think that both of them were being hypocrites. I still think they were being hypocrites about how Mel didn't want herself being discussed with Destiny and Tisha, right? Fair, right? You didn't want them to talk about you if you weren't there. However, I felt like it was hypocritical because you were talking about Tisha and she wasn't there. But those are 2 different situations, y'all. I know y'all gonna disagree. I know some of y'all gonna disagree. But the reason Mel's justification of her relationship being a storyline for seasons and her relationship being in the blogs justifies exactly why Tisha and Marsau are being discussed. And then if y'all want to get all the way real and disagree with me on that, if that's the case, why the hell is Wanda coming on the show every time we see her in her 15 bottles of Pump It Up? And she is talking about Marsau. Ever since we met Wanda, we have seen Wanda discuss either what's been in the blogs or two, discuss something that's going on with Marsau and Tisha. So it's one of those things where it's just like, if it's something that has already been put out there, you can't get upset with Mel and make it seem like she was the first person to ever mention Marsau cheating. It's always been in the blogs, okay? Wanda has mentioned it on the show. So that's where I have to say, okay, it is much clearer for me to answer the question. Let me see what Tia talking about. Tia says, okay, Niecy, then why didn't Mel treat Tisha how she would have wanted to be treated? Because it's a show. And also because sometimes when they go low, you got to go medium or you got to go to hell. So you treat people the way that they have treated you because that's what they did to her for 3 seasons long. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but what I'm saying is when somebody pissed me off, I don't always go with the logic of, you know what? When I went through it, she was a bitch to me and she drugged my name through the mud and she talked about me for a whole season and still got a check. So when her husband go through it, I'm going to treat her with kindness. Nah, we going to talk and I'm going to make a check off of talking about you and your husband for a whole nother season. So I'm not even mad about it. Okay. So next, the argument gets more turned up, right? Tisha says they only went live to dispute what Mel had said. That was the biggest lie. Like when Tisha said we only discussed you and Martell to dispute what y'all put out there about us, I was like, wow. She really ain't got nothing else to say because I think she understood where Mel was coming from, but you just want to divert your attention somewhere else, right? You just want to divert your attention somewhere else, right? So they start getting louder and louder. And I watched this back twice and I couldn't exactly pinpoint like what led to the point of the volume being on 200%. And, you know, Mel saying, well, you knew that Martell was cheating. Tisha says, well, I didn't know until you told me in season 1. And I was like, F Martell. And then Tisha says, well, you knew that Martell was cheating on you for 3 years. Now, Tisha, I agree with you. Mel knew that Martell was cheating on her probably before you knew shit, okay? But the fact of the matter is she stayed with her husband, okay? I don't think that Mel's issue is that Tisha knew about the cheating before she did. Mel decided to stay. You can't be mad at nobody if you decide to stay with that man. But what you never should have done, Tisha, was mention that Mel decided to have another baby with her husband, even though he was cheating on her. I was just like, girl, you really gonna, like, what does that have to do with anything? So Tisha was almost trying to prove, like, why are you mad at me if you decide to stay with your husband and have another baby? If y'all are a mod, can y'all get the spam out the chat, please? But Tisha, you should have never brought that up because one of the things that I immediately thought whenever this scene ended, I sat there and I was like, you know what? This ain't gonna age well. You know, if you're over on Twitter or Instagram, somebody says something, you're like, well, that didn't age well, because they usually say something that ends up biting them in the butt. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen with Tisha. You sat there, you argued to Mel about how she knew and she stayed and she had a baby with him, but that's not going to age well, because what I feel like is, even if nobody's proven that Marsau has cheated, Tisha knows whether or not Marsau has cheated. And I think that because of all the embarrassment that would come with it, Tisha would have to have two decisions. Number one, Tisha's decision would be to have Marsau cheat on her, and then she would have to say, okay, y'all were right. Number two, Tisha would have to deal with Marsau cheating on her, and she could recollect herself in private and save herself the embarrassment. Which one y'all think she gonna choose? You gonna cry in the Honda or you gonna cry in the Phantom? What you gonna do, Tisha? She gonna cry in the Phantom because she's not going to want us to light her up. So this ain't gonna age well, because if he does cheat and there's ever concrete evidence, you better hope don't nobody else find out about it. Okay, so next, y'all, they end up leaving because Mel says she feel like she gonna go to jail. Tia says she gonna cry in black, right? You gonna cry at your mama house on the other side of the tracks, or you gonna cry in black? Which one you gonna do? She gonna cry in black. So now, y'all, we go to Maurice and Kimmi. We see Maurice and Kimmi, and she's recapping the entire argument. She talks about the housewarming. She doesn't know if, it'd be a good idea for Martell to come because of recent things that he's been involved with. Because whenever he comes, the drama comes. And low-key, it's been a couple months, so I kind of forgot what she was even talking about whenever she said, when he comes, the drama comes. But then it clicked, and I was like, oh, Erana did say that Maurice was out here with a linebacker, and you don't want Martell to come because you feel like if at any point Ariane gets pissed off, she might out information about Marsau that you don't want nobody to know. You gonna cry in the Phantom or you gonna cry in the Honda? That's what I mean. So Kimmi's reason for Martell not coming isn't just because of Martell. It's a way to protect Maurice. Because I told y'all, this show seemed like it's been on for a while now, and Kimmi is smart. If anything had ever went down, if Maurice actually was with the linebacker, that's not something that she wants to discuss on TV. She don't want to be discussed the way that Mel and Martell was discussed. So that's why she don't want Martell to come around. Maurice ends up calling Martell on the phone because he's like, nah, he should be able to come. He should be able to come. They're FaceTiming. They agree to have a discussion between Kimmi, Maurice, and Martell before Martell loses signal. Now, I agree with you, boss lady. I think they all were. And then Afisa says, why Kimmi protecting Maurice? He ain't protecting her. Kimmi is protecting Maurice because she's protecting herself from what people are going to say about her. It's much easier to deal with things that are embarrassing without having people talk about it on YouTube like we do every single week. So I think Kimmi is protecting Maurice while inadvertently protecting herself because she don't want to deal with the blows of social media. And Nola, you exactly right. Let's not forget that Martell was calling Kimmi the side piece too. Right, let's not forget. So now, y'all, exactly. Simply put, Prosperity, she's protecting her peace. Facts. So the other thing that happens is that Maurice ends up surprising Kimmi with a trip to Miami, and he already booked the ticket. So I'm like, okay, cool. So now let's get on to Miss Wanda. But y'all, before we jump into Wanda, y'all go ahead and do me a favor because I see we have over 400 people in the chat. So go ahead, pay y'all's dues. If y'all like our conversation, be sure to like the video and hit subscribe so you don't miss another video. Like the video, then we're going to get on with the review. All right, y'all. So now it's time to get into Wanda and Marsau. Wanda wants a business loan so she could start her baked potato food business called Show Enough by Wanda. I seen a picture of the potatoes, and it was very much given no ma'am. Ain't no way. No way. But okay, she showed up to Black and she wants to shadow Marsau for a day. I get so confused saying their names like that. That's how me and my sister's names are. We have to get into Miss Wanda Kelly. We do. Okay. And Too Feisty says it's only 20. The math is not mathing. Y'all be sure to like the video, okay? So anyway, they show up. Wanda got her rainbow boots on. And when I say rainbow, I don't just mean the color, I mean the store. It's giving rainbow. She got the rainbow boots on. And she shows up and, he shows her the kitchen and she's like, you should wash dishes. And she said, I'm not washing dishes. I just got my nails done. I know. Listen, this is what Wanda basically said without saying it. I know we came together to film a scene for me to shadow you. But what this is really about is I'm coming to you with the drama. Okay? I'm coming to you with the drama. So Wanda brings up the rumor. She says, it's a picture of you in the motel. And I need to know if it's true or not. And he ended up saying to her, that picture could have been anybody. And the longer that I watch Marsau play these games with both Tisha and her mama, because y'all know, I told y'all I don't like to dilute my reviews with social media stuff, but I do be paying attention to the drama in social media. Y'all know just last week, Tisha and Marsau got into like a lightweight tit for tat on Instagram Live because he wouldn't say whether or not, number one, he didn't like plus size girls, or number two, whether or not he would cheat on Tisha. So the longer that Marsau plays these games, I'm starting to feel like he's doing that to prove to whatever side chick that he's with that the relationship that he has with Tisha is not that deep. Okay? He does not want to piss off whoever this side chick is because he don't want her to come with the mess. So what he's going to do is keep playing Tisha like a damn clown. He's going to keep playing her like a clown. So the side chick who is okay with her position won't be too mad. And number one, I first noticed this. I should have noticed it a long time ago, actually. But it really didn't hit me that hard until, prosperity, that's exactly what I was going to say. It didn't hit me that hard until they were in Vegas and he did not want to renew their vows. That lets me know that if he had the option to marry Tisha again, he probably wouldn't. But because he thinks that marriage is a life sentence, he is going to do that. And that's no disrespect to Tisha. That's just based off of what I see on TV. So he keeps playing Wanda to the left and he's just like, that could have been anybody. And she's like, no, but I need an answer. You know what I think? I think that it was you, right? And he's like, well, I'll tell you what, wherever you got that information from, you go back and you get all the other information. She said, I think it was Marsau and his big ass back. When I looked at the picture, y'all want to know my opinion? Based on the picture, it looked just like Marsau and his big ass back because somebody put the side-by-side picture of whenever he was in Las Vegas versus the side-by-side when he was laying up in that motel room, and it definitely looked like him. But one of the things that I noticed was that Wanda was actually like very serious about this. We've seen Wanda come and stir the pot for episodes on episodes. Like even last season, we seen her question him about taking a bottle of wine to Mel. All that is just, who cares? Don't nobody care if he bought a bottle of chocolate champagne to Mel. But in this scene, I really felt like Wanda was mad and emotional versus how she typically does in other scenes whenever she's just stirring the pot. I could tell because she said to him, son. She called him son. I was like, oh, damn, she loves him. And even though they argue back and forth, she's telling him like, no, son, you need to be honest with me. Even though she doesn't know how to communicate that, right? So he did admit to her that he was in Atlanta on January 4th and he was with a friend. So that's the end of that scene. So we also see Stormy and Mel at Stormy's house, and Mel says she feels like Tisha has a bunch of misplaced anger. I think it's a little bit of both, Mel. I think that Tisha is upset with you, and I think a lot of it is the misplaced anger, like you said. Stormy talks about how Destiny mocked her and she don't even know her, and Mel says that Destiny called her on the phone and she wants to have a sit down with Stormy. Please believe, y'all, Destiny don't want to have no sit down to get cool with Stormy. Destiny wants to have a sit down to clean up what we just saw on TV. Period. So finally, let's get back to Tisha and Wanda. We see Tisha and Wanda, and they're standing outside of, I think they were standing outside of Black. And yeah, Tia, you ain't never lied. They mad at each other. They've been mad at each other. So they standing outside of what I think is Black. And Wanda says to Tisha, look at what I saw. Have you been on social media? Tisha says, well, I haven't been on social media in about a month. Y'all, Tisha knew damn well what her mama was about to say before she even said it. Regardless, Tisha, of if you have been on social media or not, plenty of people have probably told you about that picture of Marsau and his big ass back. So you knew about it before your mama brought it to you. But okay, let's just play like we don't know. So as soon as the picture is pulled out, Tisha says, well, Wanda holding the phone in her face. Tisha's just like, body language. Tisha don't even want to look at it, y'all. And Tisha just says, well, honestly, if this is all y'all got after 4 years, like, I just can't, because I feel like y'all are really trying to break up our family, and it's really upsetting at this point. I just have nothing to say. Tisha, and you could tell her mom was serious about this one. Like, it was different, and Tisha knew it was different. Her mama said, now, Tisha, do you think that you just love him so much that you are willing to overlook all this? Y'all, this season, I have to say, I understand a lot more where Wanda is coming from. Like, even though Wanda is annoying and Wanda has been the drama, Wanda does what everybody else mama be doing. Okay? Wanda is actually concerned. She don't know how to articulate herself the way that everybody, wants her to in an easy way to understand. But I think Wanda was like, no, this is serious. I feel like you're ignoring this. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been that serious. And yes, it's J-Dub. That's exactly what it was. Marsau did the debriefing. Facts. If Tisha didn't find out from nowhere else, Marsau left Black, went and talked to Tisha immediately so he could put out the fire and let her know in her brain that if anybody comes at you with this bullshit, you need to fight for me. And it was probably never a discussion about did you actually do it or not, because he's going to play her to the left and play her crazy and not answer the question. But it was more so a discussion of they're trying to fight against our family. You need to keep our family together. So now, instead of Tisha thinking about herself and thinking about if this man is actually being honest to you, you're thinking about whether or not somebody is trying to destroy your family and he's manipulating you into thinking that if you want to fight for this family, you're going to ignore all rumors of me cheating on you. And that's what she's doing. So now Wanda says that, she's tired of Marsau putting her on the back burner, because if this ain't true, then you need to go ahead and answer the question. And I agreed 1,000%. And this is where Tisha says, but he did answer your questions. Girl, Tisha, you know better than anybody that Marsau never answers any questions that you ask him. You know better than anybody. So Wanda just says, okay, fine. If you don't believe me, he told me he was there with a friend. And Tisha says, he was where? Oh, but Tisha, I thought that wasn't good enough proof. Okay. So now you're hearing for the first time that your husband actually said he was in Atlanta, right? So Wanda says he said he was there in Atlanta with a friend. So the fact that Tisha was so willing to defend this man and stick beside him before even knowing that he was actually in Atlanta, and she was shook, visibly shook by what her mama had to say. I'm just like, girl, you were being manipulated. And this is what I mean when I say this ain't gonna age well, because that same energy that you have for Mel after having a baby with her husband, okay, is how people are going to be looking at you. So the question I got earlier, why can't Mel just treat Tisha the way that she wants to be treated? Question for y'all. Whenever Tisha goes through this, do you think that she's going to have a different type of sympathy for Mel? Girl. So Wanda says, if I find out that Marsau did this and he's been lying, then I'm coming for him. But Wanda also knows her daughter. So that's why Wanda said, if I find out that you knew something about this, I'm coming for you too. And it was very much given. You was acting the ass. You knew your brother was acting the ass. Okay, well, I'm going to whoop his ass for acting the ass. But if I found out that you knew what he was doing and you didn't say nothing to me, I'm going to whoop your ass too. It was very much given mama, because Wanda knows her daughter, and she knows that her daughter is hiding something. Her daughter is deflecting, and she don't want to talk about it. So finally, y'all, we see Tiffany, Lewis, Martell, very much given. Martell got to film with somebody. We already filmed him with Destiny. Y'all go ahead and film with him. And they talk about Mel. Don't care. Tiffany is recapping Valentine's Day. And she also mentions how Mel probably should have had the kids at a book signing. And that if Mel thinks that them not having a conversation is a good thing, then it's a bad thing. And Tiffany, I want you to know right now, you're next. Marsau ended up saying to Tiffany, well, Mel wants everybody to be her do girl. And pretty soon you'll see what I mean. Now, I think Martell was correct whenever he said, pretty soon you'll see what I mean. But I disagree that Mel needs do girls. The reason why I'm saying that he's correct is because, Tiffany, if you keep filming these scenes and you keep discussing Mel with Martell, you're next. You're going to be done just like Destiny was done. I was just like, why are you doing that? Number one, because I think all of us realizes that Martell is not logical in a lot of ways. This man thinks that he can survive off of another man's plate. So let's start there. I think a lot of us realize that. And it seems like Tiffany doesn't realize that Marsau has a level of resentment towards Mel that does not allow him to process his thinking in a logical way. So you can't say boo about Mel without him going off the damn ringer. So this is where everybody should just learn. Do not discuss Mel with Martell. Do not. So I think that's a bad decision. Wrong road. But yeah, he also invites Lewis to Atlanta with the guys. Now, this is how y'all know ain't nothing gonna go down in Atlanta, because the other men don't trust Lewis. The other men don't see Lewis as a part of their bro code. So finally, y'all, let's get to Tisha. Tisha pulls up. She pulls up on Marsau, looking like a 1990s R&B music video. She riding in the car. And, you know, she just says, hey, come outside. We need to talk. And y'all, I honestly feel like that whole scene was staged. Whenever Tisha came outside and said, Marsau, we need to talk, y'all tell me, when have y'all ever seen such willingness from Marsau to have a discussion with his wife about anything? Anything. I told y'all this is the season of rebranding. This is the season of trying to build Tisha a damn backbone. And that's what they're trying to do together. Whenever she pulled up, I was like, I already know this conversation is not going to be authentic, because she had this conversation with him before she pulled up in the parking lot. He comes outside and he says, oh, this is going to be a long conversation. The Marsau we know would say, babe, I'm not going to have this discussion with you. Babe, what do you want? We'll talk when you get home. He wouldn't come outside at Tisha's beck and call. So I promise y'all, next week will not be an authentic conversation. It might be some acting, and it might actually give Tisha the ability to be more vulnerable because she feels like he might feel the need to be nicer if she's crying and cameras are there versus when they at home and he ain't paying her ass no mind. It might be that. Maybe Tisha will be a little bit more emotional. But other than that, they already had this damn conversation. So it's really nothing to be said, and they leave it at a to be continued, right? So that's all I have for Love and Marriage Huntsville. For the nightcap, I didn't even take notes on the nightcap, but it was a few things that I remember, y'all. The nightcap was actually a pretty good show. Y'all have to watch the nightcap with Carlos King. I was on Twitter just tweeting away, and I was like, oh my God, not this show making my whole damn night. So Mel and Mel and Monique were the first guest of the show, and they both were just shady boots. Mel said something about, a lawyer who gets caught up in a lie. This is her referencing Maurice. So obviously her and Maurice don't get along well because she was coming at him the way he was coming at her whenever he said that Mel was the drama and not Martell. Another thing, y'all, Monique talked about how Giselle had the worst fashions, the worst men on the show, and all this other stuff. And I was like, damn, Monique, y'all are really coming for the girls. Y'all are holding nothing back at all. And then the biggest thing that took me all the way out was whenever Mel let everybody know that Wanda's baby daddy be in her DMs. And Carla said, who? And that's where Mel said, I don't know. It's Tisha daddy. I said, and then Mel went live. And then her code for her skincare to get a % off was Zaddy, Zaddy. I was like, wow. They were shady, real shady. Those are like the three things I remember. I didn't intend on reviewing the nightcap because I really didn't think it was going to hit like that. But I see that the nightcap is actually going to be a good show. So I will be adding the nightcap to these reviews, okay? I know a lot of y'all have like some agreement, some disagreement with me when it comes to Love and Marriage Huntsville. I know everything is really split, but y'all, we didn't have a whole kiki today. We didn't have a whole conversation. I hope that y'all have joined the squad. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, okay? But other than that, I don't have nothing for y'all. Y'all make sure to go check out my Real Housewives of Atlanta review, and I will, you already know what goes on, watch my Real Housewives of Atlanta review, okay? And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye, y'all.